welcome to the Lee and the Jake Show. It is Wednesday, April 10th. My name is Lisa Mecca, and I'm joined by Jacob Unger and Jacob Rothberg. Coming up, I give my take on why teams should not tank in sports. Later, Jacob Unger will talk about Kyler Murray and Josh Rosen, while Jacob Rothberg will talk about Magic Johnson stepping down as the Lakers president. First, let's talk about tanking. Last night, the NHL Draft Lottery took place, and the hockey gods smiled down at the Metropolitan Division, with the Devils and Rangers getting the number 1 and 2 pick, respectively. The Blackhawks were awarded the number 3 pick, and they just missed out on a playoff spot. All top 3 picks were not projected to get a top 3. The Rangers played hard the last few games of the season to the displeasure of some of their fans, winning games and hurting their lottery odds. But it worked out well. With all that in mind, what are your guys' thoughts on tanking in sports? Do you think it is a real problem?
I think if you're going to tank, you have to tank efficiently. So, like the Rangers or the Knicks, if the Knicks lose all these games, then at the end of the season they win 10 in a row, there's really no point of them doing that the whole season. So I think that it's really essential that if you're going to tank, you tank right, and you don't do it wrong, because it could really ruin your franchise, and your fans could get really, really mad. What about you, Jake?
I mean, I agree with what you said there. I think that what matters is that it's done right. I think back to when the Yankees thought they were tanking, and what they did was they traded all those huge salaries and brought up those young guys like Gleyber Torres and Andujar, and that's when Judge started to break out. So I think, if you're going to tank, be ready to have those young guys ready to develop, because you're wasting your time just losing games if you don't have any development going on.
Yeah, I think that going back to Gleyber Torres, that's probably one of the biggest win-win trades in sports history. When the Cubs got Chapman, it's helped them get their first World Series win in over 100 years, and the Yankees got back who looks like going to be one of the best players in baseball pretty soon.
Who didn't know that he was going to be that good?
But tanking in sports has often been a topic of conversation that's debated across sports fans. Tanking can be described as teams losing games in order to get perceived future compensation. Tanking is complicated because logically, if a team is struggling, as a fan, you always want to win. But winning when a team is missing out on the playoffs makes no logical sense. Winning feels good, especially against a rival team. In cases, though, it seems detrimental. In football, there is no draft lottery. So if you finish as the worst team in the league, you get the number 1 pick. In leagues such as the NHL and the NBA, they have a draft lottery, so there are no guarantees. But the worse you finish, the better odd of getting a higher draft pick. Sometimes one draft pick can change the course of a franchise, such as Connor McDavid in Edmonton, a special talent who does not often come around. In some cases, it's a combination of multiple years with high draft picks, such as the Toronto Maple Leafs. The draft is so important for rebuilding teams. Some picks end up being bust, and with the draft in general, there are no guarantees about one. There have been plenty of draft busts. However, for all the draft busts have been drafted in the middle and late rounds that turn out to be stars, such as Tom Brady and Henrik Lundqvist. One thing is for sure, players will never play to lose. That's a good thing, because as a paying customer, do you want to spend money on tickets and watch a team give half an effort? As a Ranger fan, watching the later part of the season, it was like an existential crisis. I rooted for them to win, but rationally, winning only hurts them in terms of their future. Sure, hypothetically, pick number 7 may end up being better than pick number 2, but more often than not, higher picks work out better than those drafted later. In conclusion, I don't like tanking, but I do understand the value of a higher pick. I do have to admit, watching the draft lottery last night, I was so ecstatic and almost made this past season a Ranger fan worth the disappointment. The Rangers are going to get barring anything crazy happening, either Jack Hughes or Capo Caco. Both are guys who could turn a franchise around. The Rangers did not tank. In fact, they did the opposite, losing in overtime 14 times, getting meaningless points, winning the last game of the season in overtime. I don't think players tank, but I do think sometimes owners and coaches tank. That's it for my take. Now Jacob Unger shares his thoughts on Kyler Murray and Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen was selected in last year's draft with the 10th pick in the first round. This year, he's likely to be taken over by Oklahoma QB and Heisman winner Kyler Murray, as it's widely expected that Rosen will get traded. Murray has been linked with the Cardinals due to his unique style of play and fit in new coach Cliff Kingsbury's air raid offense. Now Rosen needs to find a new home because it's gotten apparent that his time in Arizona is done. If he were to stay in Arizona, he'd be glued to the bench, assuming they do pick Kyler Murray, so that would be wasting a young player in his development. Teams that are QB needy are the Dolphins, Redskins, Giants, Broncos, and Bengals. The Giants and Redskins are 2 of the strongest fits for Rosen, as the offenses have older quarterbacks to be mentors for the young QB with years of experience and similar styles of play. This would allow Rosen to develop to the fullest. Rosen would be able to step in as a savior for those 2 franchises after these guys leave. He has been known to have character issues throughout the year, but Rosen reported to training camp on time despite all the rumors going around with his name. So maybe he has matured a little bit throughout his first year in the NFL. Rumors going around with your name are not easy to deal with, but he's not letting it get to him. He's still participating in preseason practices. The rumor going around is that his market value is a second-round pick, which would ultimately be a loss because last year he was picked in the first round with the 10th pick. It'll be interesting to see where and when he gets traded, if it'll be before the draft, during the draft, or after when the team already picked Kyler Murray, assuming they do so. Either way, though, it looks like Josh Rosen's run in Arizona will be short-lived, and it's over. So that's all I got now, Jake. What do you have for us today?
What an embarrassment out in LA as Lakers president Magic Johnson stepped down from office without even telling his wife. Johnson's mysterious departure sent shockwaves throughout the Lakers organization and the world of basketball, as not even his wife knew that he wanted out. Johnson made an announcement before the Lakers' regular season finale against the Portland Trail Blazers, telling reporters that he wanted to go back to having fun and wanted to go back to being who he was before he took on the job. He even went as far as saying that he loves Luke Walton. Luke Walton, the guy who underachieved with LeBron and had the Lakers win just 2 more games this season. Something is going on behind closed doors. I think Magic has had enough of the Lakers drama, especially the LeBron drama. Did LeBron promote this departure? What do you guys think? What happened behind closed doors?
I mean,
To say that you love Luke Walton.
something's weird there. I mean, LeBron comes in, they don't win games, and now the GM's out. It's a little fishy if you ask me. I think LeBron, he has a strong voice, and everyone knows that. So,
What about you, Lee?
Yeah, I agree. I think LeBron probably most likely has something to do with it. I mean,
Is he trolling though? Like when
wouldn't
he's
be the
saying that he
first
likes
time.
Luke Walton, is that like throwing a shot at the Lakers? Like, oh, I also like Luke Walton.
I think that's just a PR thing, trying not to say the wrong thing, because it was made to look like that he was going to be the reason why Luke Walton was fired, and now he's gone before even Luke Walton's gone.
Well, I understand it's a lot of pressure, but we definitely need some answers. The situation needs to 100% be more clear. But with that being said, it's been another episode of Lee and the Jakes. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we get some answers on the LA situation.